Editors and publishers of the New York Times, The Guardian, and Der Spiegel speak up for Julian Assange. White gunman pleads guilty to racist New York supermarket massacre. 2 brothers among 4 Palestinians killed by Israel. Report accuses Swedish fashion chain of polluting water in Bangladesh. Strategy to boost economic growth directly needed, OIC chief. British Muslim firefighters face institutional racism at London Fire Brigade. Report. From Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Editors and publishers of the New York Times, The Guardian, Le Monde, Der Spiegel, and El País are calling for the U.S. government to end its prosecution of Julian Assange for publishing secrets. In an open letter published yesterday, they wrote that the government's indictment of Assange sets a dangerous precedent and threatens to undermine America's First Amendment and the freedom of the press. Publishing is not a crime, they said. Their letter comes 12 years after the media outlets published revelations from Assange's website, WikiLeaks. He released more than 250,000 confidential U.S. military records and diplomatic cables. Known as Cablegate, the material was leaked to WikiLeaks by then U.S. soldier Chelsea Manning. They revealed the inner workings of Washington's diplomacy around the world. The documents exposed corruption, diplomatic scandals, and spy affairs on an international scale, Monday's letter said. Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence on Monday said ex-President Donald Trump was wrong to have dinner with white nationalist Nick Fuentes last week. Pence said he does not believe Trump is an anti-Semite or a racist. He did, however, add that Trump was wrong to give an anti-Semite and a Holocaust denier a seat at the table. Pence told News Nation that Trump demonstrated profoundly poor judgment and should apologize for it by denouncing Fuentes and rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. Several Republican senators also criticized the former president for disavowing the dinner with Fuentes and Ye. The gunman who killed 10 black people inside a Buffalo, New York supermarket last May pleaded guilty on Monday to more than 24 charges. Charges in the racially motivated mass shooting include multiple counts of murder as a hate crime. 19-year-old Peyton Gendron previously pleaded not guilty to federal charges. His reversal in state court signals he will spend the rest of his life behind bars for fatally shooting 10 people and wounding 3 others on May 14th. Gendron, who is white, now faces a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. This is after pleading guilty to all counts, including domestic terrorism motivated by hate. He said in a manifesto posted online shortly before carrying out the attack that he chose the Tops-friendly market in Buffalo because it was in a predominantly black area. Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving has a lengthy history of giving back to the community. His latest donation went to New York City's oldest black Muslim school. Hamza Abdul Mumit, a former student of the elementary and middle school, said Irving donated $60,000. Irving's latest donation follows multiple other contributions to individuals and communities. He recently made an unannounced $65,000 donation to the family of Shanquella Robinson through a fundraiser organized by her sister, Quilla Long. Robinson, an American student from North Carolina, was killed last month while vacationing in Mexico. Irving also gave $50,000 to the family of Devin Chandler, one of 3 University of Virginia men's college football players shot and killed earlier this month. A new course being offered this fall at California's Stanford University aims to teach students about Islamophobia in the United States. Interrogating Islamophobia will be taught by Abia Ahmed, Associate Dean and Director of Stanford's Markaz Resource Center. She told Middle East Eye the course aims to interrogate complexities around Islamophobia in the U.S., both as a concept and in how it manifests. Ahmed's work examines the intersection of religion and education with a focus on Muslims and Islam. So far, 10 students are enrolled in the course. A survey by the Council on American Islamic Relations showed Muslim students in California exhibited high levels of Islamophobic bullying, harassment, and discrimination. 4 Palestinian men, including 2 brothers, were killed on Tuesday by Israeli fire in separate incidents in the occupied West Bank. The 2 brothers were identified by the Palestinian Wafa news agency as Jawad and Dhafar Rimawi, aged 22 and 21. Wafa said they had been killed by Israeli fire during clashes with troops near the village of Kafar Ain, west of Ramallah. Palestinian Authority Civil Affairs Minister Hussein al-Sheikh described their killing as an execution in cold blood. The Israeli military said troops operating in the village came under attack from suspects throwing rocks and firebombs, and soldiers returned fire. In a separate incident, a Palestinian man identified by the Palestinian Health Ministry as Mufid Khalil was killed by Israeli soldiers during a military raid near Hebron. Khalil was shot in the head and at least 8 others were injured, the ministry said. This year marks the highest number of Palestinians killed by Israel in the West Bank since 2006. Bangladesh accuses Swedish fashion chain of polluting water. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
We are Justice for All. Headquartered in the heart of downtown Chicago, Justice for All is a global humanitarian initiative dedicated to raising awareness for human rights concerns impacting vulnerable minority groups. Our diverse team of staff and volunteers, led by Imam Malik Mujahid, work tirelessly to help Justice for All achieve their goals. We promote policies that protect religious freedom, address the root causes of mass displacement, and recognize the plight of refugees and forced migrants. Together, we can continue to stand up for justice. Justice for all.
To stop this genocide, we need your help.
Welcome back. Swedish clothing giant H&M is responsible for polluting water in Bangladesh, according to a news report. Swedish daily newspaper Aftonbladet reviewed 11 factories manufacturing clothes for H&M. It confirmed that 4 of these facilities discharged contaminated water. The fashion chain has suppliers who produce items in factories in Bangladesh, which has low wages and cheap water. Sharif Jamil, a Bangladeshi environmental activist and leader of the organization BAPA, said there are only 30 inspectors to check thousands of factories in the capital Dhaka for compliance. Several government ministers, dozens of parliamentarians, and mayors own factories themselves in the country. Bangladesh, along with China, is among the leading producers of fast fashion. Consumption of clothes is 60% up from 2000, and every clothing item on average is worn only 7 times before it ends up at a landfill site. Nearly 100 billion new garments are produced every year. Muslim nations are in dire need of strategy to increase economic growth, both sustained and inclusive, the head of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation said on Monday. Hussein Brahim Taha was addressing the OIC's 38th Committee for Economic and Commercial Cooperation standing meeting in Istanbul. He said the disruption to energy supplies due to the Russia-Ukraine war had worsened the economic stress from the COVID-19 pandemic. He said the Muslim bloc's 57 member states have faced sustained economic decline along with tourism activities. Taha said OIC nations need to increase food production. He urged more trade and investments among members of the bloc. Taha also called on the Islamic Development Bank to come up with comprehensive supportive efforts to meet food security challenges. Several leading groups and prominent activists have formed the Arakan Rohingya National Alliance. The organization's goal is to ensure the persecuted minorities safe and dignified repatriation in their homeland. It's the first time since the 2017 military genocide of Rohingya Muslims in Burma's Rakhine State that such an alliance has been formed. Rohingya people have dozens of organizations among the diaspora and refugee communities, but none of them is their sole representative. The alliance is expected to bring together many Rohingya leaders living at home and abroad to secure the right of self-determination for the Rohingya people in Burma. There are 1 million Rohingya refugees and 500,000 displaced people stuck inside the open-air prison of Arakan. United Nations experts have called on authorities in South Sudan to investigate officials accused of overseeing systematic gang rapes. Some of the victims were girls as young as 9 years old, experts say. The Commission on Human Rights in South Sudan accused a county commissioner in the northern state of Unity of orchestrating gang rapes at a military camp. Documented abuses include beheadings and people being burned alive in the state in the greater Upper Nile region, the Commission says. Rape victims were also forced to carry the severed heads, and many suffered days of brutal sexual assaults, UN experts said. Investigators say sexual abuse has been used as a weapon by all sides in South Sudan's civil conflict, which erupted in 2013. The conflict has triggered Africa's biggest refugee crisis since the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Twitter has removed freshly uploaded footage of the 2019 Christchurch terror attack circulating on the platform. But the footage was taken down only after the New Zealand government alerted the social media platform, which failed to recognize the content as harmful. The video clips were filmed by the Australian white supremacist who murdered 51 Muslim worshippers at 2 mosques in Christchurch in 2019. They were uploaded by some Twitter users Saturday, according to the office of Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. A spokesperson for the Prime Minister said Twitter's automated reporting function didn't pick up the content as harmful. Other users reported the videos and the government separately raised it with Twitter, the office said. The mosque attack was live streamed on multiple social media platforms, and the terrorist manifesto was published online. Twitter has laid off thousands of content moderators as well as human rights teams since Elon Musk's takeover of the platform. It has been struggling to police harmful content, including the proliferation of misinformation accounts and racist tweets in the lead up to the World Cup. British Muslim firefighters suffer anti-Muslim abuse at the London Fire Brigade, according to an independent review. There is also a widespread culture of racism, bullying, and misogyny in the institution. The report was conducted by the former Chief Crown Prosecutor for North West England, Nazir Afzal. The review was prompted after a trainee firefighter took his own life in August 2020. The report found numerous occasions where racial slurs were casually directed toward employees of color. Tariq Yunus, senior lecturer at Middlesex University, said one Muslim worker said he faced constant abuse at the hands of colleagues who bullied him over his religion. In one instance, Yunus said bacon and sausages were placed in the employee's coat pockets and a terrorist hotline number posted on his locker. Ethnic minorities, people of color, and women were subjected to constant mockery, baiting, and bullying, the report found. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
To stop this genocide, we need your help.
Welcome back. Nearly 500 million WhatsApp user records have been sold online. To discuss this in detail, let's go to Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. Over to you, Imam Mujahid.
Thank you, Samana. News is that 500 million record of WhatsApp users are out there available for sale in dark web. Another news item says that actually combining a couple of databases, somebody is selling 1.5 billion WhatsApp mobile numbers and all that. What is going on in the world? Is my number there? How can I find out? What can we do to protect ourselves? We have a cyber security expert who is also a reporter to discuss this situation. Habiba Rashid, welcome to Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Habiba Rashid is a cybersecurity writer at hackread.com. So share with us, what is the situation about this data?
Okay, so I wouldn't call this issue a hack as much as I would call it a data scrapping issue. This is actually becoming very common, and this issue is not a standalone issue. And Meta has actually faced this before as well. And their terms of service state that they're against data scrapping. So what is data scrapping? Data scrapping basically means extracting information from a website and then putting it into a local file on your computer, such as a spreadsheet, which can then be converted into a database, depending on what your needs are. And the legal technicalities of data scrapping is not very definitive, because it is by some companies considered legal, while others, such as Meta, consider it absolutely illegal and against their terms of service.
So data scraping is just this. They are writing some type of macro or some particular program, because, going around individually getting the data is not possible. How do they exactly do this?
Right, so there are actually automated data scrapping tools that people use for this, and there are several companies which offer these sort of tools. In fact, just this year in July, Meta actually took legal action against 2 such companies because it considered their services to be against its terms of service, which could then be used against Meta, and it could be used in circumstances where data is taken from Facebook or WhatsApp and posted online. And these automated tools are created by other users, and you can refer to them as bots. So data scraping does usually happen from these automated data scraping tools. They can also scrap data from multiple websites at the same time.
So who buys these data?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. Well, I would say this data is not bought just by itself. What happens is that when you collect such data from a website, you're able to build a profile of an online user using their profile picture, their name, their phone number, as happened in this recent hack where WhatsApp users and their phone numbers were made available online. And when you put all of this profile together, you're able to build an entire identity, and then this identity is very special or very helpful for those for black hat hackers who can use this to impersonate people or for identity theft or for fraud. And then by having such personal information, they can also launch their phishing campaigns, and that's why these hackers look out for such databases.
So, and now it is saying that these things are being sold in dark web. What is the dark web?
So the dark web is the web that's not available to us. It is the hidden dark web which you have to access through a special browser, and it cannot be accessed through Google, for example. And the data that is available on specific hacking community forums. And so it is not simply just lying around again on the dark web. There are special community groups that are formed where such data is posted, and you have to be a member to view such data.
So it's not a marketplace which is open to all, but it is somewhat. So how people found out about it, and news came out, and you wrote this article also about it. If it is such a secretive and hidden, are you a member of those dark web?
So I wouldn't call it extremely secretive, but it is also not out there in the open. And for cybersecurity experts such as myself, we have to constantly monitor such community forums and look out for such information, because that is where we get our news. And to be on top of everything, and to be on top of the issues that are going on, and to be aware of the malwares and the threats in the cyberspace, we are constantly aware of the traffic that goes in and out on those spaces.
Web is controlled by different mechanism. Why this dark web stays out of those controls?
Well, there are several reasons for that. Firstly, because many people are not even familiar with the mechanisms or the deeper understanding of the dark web, and because they're not very equipped to counter the technologies that construct the dark web, it is difficult for them to then control it. And in 2022, we feel that there are just more and more security threats that are coming about, and these security threats are brought by threat actors who are on top of the cyberspace. They're able to control this domain very well because they're the ones who created, and they're the ones who can maneuver around it, which is why it is difficult to control it and to monitor it. It is similar to how you would say the black market is difficult to monitor and regulate.
All right. So, Habiba, Rashid, you're a reporter and expert and studying this particular feed. What one can do to protect their data?
Okay, so the thing is, your data is in the hands of these large corporations such as Meta, and there is not much that you can do to protect it, except that you can look out for the security threats that may arise if your data is leaked. Again, it is not a very common thing for data to be leaked, and these issues and situations are not very common. And the reason why all of a sudden we're seeing such an influx is because these issues were not a thing like 10 years ago. And so in the recent years, as these become more common, the sudden influx seems all the more worse to us. What you can do to protect yourself from such hacks is that you look out for, how you can protect yourself from the effects of these is basically that you look out for unsolicited calls, emails which contain unverified links, emails from people that you do not recognize. You have to be on top of you have to control the information basically that you give out. So do not open links that are unverified, links that you don't recognize. Don't download anything from illegal websites, from torrents. Only use official websites for whatever software you need to download, and just make sure that you're vigilant in the cyberspace.
Well, thank you so much, Habiba Rashid, for joining us. Habiba Rashid is an expert and a reporter on cybersecurity. She's joining us from Lahore, Pakistan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Samana.
Thank you. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.